The news about the assassination of State Lord is quickly spread. People are discussing about the news and why the Lord chooses to be the black magician. As they are worried they will be dragged in this matter. A black magician is arrived at the entrance, guards on alert about the presence and ask the person to identify yourself. But they instantly put to sleep. Here in the Lord's mansion, guard is wondering about something. Suddenly he is approached by the same black magician. The person wants to ask about the assassination of the Lord and instantly hypnotized. The guard tells all the details regarding the assassination and also tells the location of dead body. Magician orders him to wake up after 1 hour sleep. As told to him, he wakes up exactly after 1 hour of sleep. To his surprise he is notified that the body of the State Lord has disappeared. Outside the castle near the forest, the black magician confirms that the owner of the blade is already dead. Which means the culprit is the same person who killed the wolf leader. This person is to determine to kill the culprit, which is our Tiny. Speaking about our hero, he has already reached to Lucentia Castle. According to him everything is gone smoothly till now. He really need his equipments so that he will be prepared and want to buy them, but his pocket is pretty much empty. Suddenly he is approached by thugs. They are asking him that does he have some money. Tiny doesn't answer anything. With deadly smile on his face he asks them back same question. In his previous life there was unwritten rule, if a shadow of giant appears on the black market street, you shouldn't make even the sound of breathing. He was feared on the streets. Tiny tells a person who is scolding him about killing people and not showing any mercy that he is just taking care of human trash. Tiny already beaten the thugs and took their money. He single-handedly defeats all of them and collects all the money from them. Now Tiny is ready to buy the equipments and he goes to the shop. He is buying the armor and a hammer. At same moment he got to know that Princess of Valentia is arriving for the patrolling. Princess and his sister are the ones who taught him meaning of affection and hope. In his previous life when Tiny able to meet the princess, she doesn't recognize him. By that time she was already forgotten about him. So Tiny decides to meet the princess now that he has a chance. Here we see Princess is patrolling the street with the eldest son of Count Lucent along with her security. She is not interested in his chit-chat, so she asks to visit at ghetto. This is a place where poor and lowest people resides. Hearing this the person is shocked and ready to go with Princess. She was taught by his father to take care of people at the lowest. These are the people who will be contributing in the country's development. Their lives need to be better and they deserve the better. Suddenly the guard are alert on arrival of Tiny. He shows the ring that was given to him by the princess herself. With respect he returns the ring to Princess. Now she remembers that this ring was given to the kid from ghetto. She asks in suspicion how he managed to get this ring. After hearing this the guard surrounds Tiny. One of Princess' guard asks him to give proper answer. To which he thinks that it was early to meet the princess and he made a mistake. He responds that he was the same kid from ghetto, only Tiny has black hair on the whole continent. Princess was still reluctant to believe him. Tiny remembers Princess always liked the cuteness. So he decides to bring his wolf in very tiny form. The princess is instantly hypnotized by the cuteness of wolf. She mentions that only people with pure heart can make contract with spirits. Tiny tells the name of wolf, which is lunar moon, and he knows the Eastern language also. When Tiny mentioned he was growing faster because he was able to learn mana control. The guard becomes suspicious about him. She think he is too dangerous to approach Princess. Tiny doesn't care about the others. He mentioned that he needs Princess help. Previously Princess promised him that whenever he needs help, he can ask to her. Tiny finally asks Princess that he wants to meet Mr. Eskard von Valentia. At this moment everyone thinks he is crazy and he has some agenda. Tiny reminds them he is nothing compared to the Sword Emperor. Upon hearing this Princess laughs and says that this nickname suits him. The Lord is not Sword Emperor yet, Tiny thinks, but all works out in Tiny's favor. Now Princess and one of her guard listen to the events happens in the ghetto town from Tiny. Princess was angry on her guard for not informing about these events. She was ordered to hide from the princess. Now Princess has a valid reason to meet her father. Suddenly the spirit wolf disappears from Princess' lap, alarming them. Now we are shown that Tiny and Edmund having a talk. Edmund is not happy with the Tiny's interference and attitude, to which he responds with attack. Tiny grabs his hand tightly, which Edmund unable to free. Tiny provokes him, stating that was this all he have. Now Edmund takes Tiny to a place. Vivian and Princess are worried about Tiny. On Princess' order, Vivian went to find the Tiny in hopes he will be alright. Now the young lord brought Tiny to the ruckus gang leader. Tiny already knows that this is going to happen and he is not in stress. Edmund ordered to teach this kid a lesson. On his order, two of gang's members comes forward to attack on Tiny, but they are horrified his presence. They are the thugs who Tiny looted money previously. They begs their leader to teach him a lesson. The leader is in confidence, tries attacking Tiny. In one hit with his hammer, leader is defeated. The young lord asks leader to save him. On Tiny's fearsome presence, both of them passed out. Our hero was expecting a fight but left with disappointment. Vivian arrives at the location screaming Tiny's name, but to her surprise Tiny is sitting on the safe holding by two men. Edmund is passed out after wetting himself. Tiny hands out the ledger which contains evidence of bribery carried out by Edmund without considering how cruel the imperial law is. Vivian is surprised by his talent and thinks coming here was not necessary, but it was Princess' order she has to follow. Next day they all leaves for Empire in carriage. They are discussing about Edmund's involvement in human trafficking. Vivian is worried about relationship between Princess and Count family. After this incident it will be worse. According to her, Princess made a mistake or thinks so. Tiny interrupts and says that it was not a mistake, which makes Princess laugh. According to her, rewards and punishments should be applied equally regardless of their social status. Tiny remembers about them from previous life, fearsome princess and famous knight. They were like sister who stuck always, even after the chaos. Tiny asks Princess whether she blame him about these or worry about him. According to Princess, Tiny is trustworthy. She knows how he fought to Wolf and freed the people. Even here he was the main reason for uncovering the human trafficking from a noble. After 3 days later their caravan suddenly stops. Guard informs them there is an elf who is asking for a ride. Elf greets the princess and asks for a ride. As Princess and Vivian are happy about Elf, Tiny notices that she is a level 5th circle black magician. It is well-known fact that elves are called the descendants of the fairies and known for their beauty. Their kingdom is located at the western side of the continent. It is rare and unusual to come across an elves in the empire. They were born with spirit tamer abilities and known for pure virtuous and peace-loving. To think this elf is black magician, Tiny is surprised. Princess agrees to give her a ride. The lady smartly asks whether the princess is the owner of spirit, to which Princess points Tiny. Our hero, being innocent kid and putting one hand on Vivian, sighs that this is also his first time meeting with elf. Tiny telepathically conveys the message about black magician and he cannot fight with her in current situation. So he need help from Vivian and Princess. This is the ability he got from the wolf and only the tamer knows about the abilities of the spirit. Princess and Vivian are in shock. Black magician acting innocent shows some magic tricks by creating a fireball using dark magic to which only the Tiny is aware. Tiny is aware about the Vivian's abilities and knows she is good swordswoman but no match to her. Guards are low-level mana user and in his current state he needs more than 100 clone of himself to defeat her. The only way to deal with her is surprise attack. Now Tiny asks the lady, would you like to hug the wolf, to which she agrees. When she approaches to hold the wolf, it changes to its original form and attacks her. Tiny also attack the mage but a strong barrier is putting him away. Suddenly the mage is surprised by the Vivian's attack. She manages to stab her through the barrier. Mage is pissed about how they know about her true identity. According to Princess flashback, it was Tiny who informed them about the black magician with the help of Wolf. Tiny is ready to take the responsibility with his life, to which Princess is pretty much shocked and agrees to go with his plan. As both of them are holding the mage, she manages to fly in the air with weakened shield. Tiny tries one more time to break the barrier but he bounces back. The lady tries to fight back but with a serious wound she is unable to maintain her posture. She gathers large amount of black mana to attack with mana explosion. Tiny uses his iron body first time in this life and manages to avoid getting hit. Vivian orders everyone to attack. Tiny on the wolf also attack to break the barrier. Mage lady in desperate situation attack the princess to distract them and get away. Tiny follows her in the air with his iron body ability. He is avoiding the black flames and manages to bring her down. In anger she uses multiple black flame magic but Tiny is able to land his hammer on the black magician. She again takes off in the air and uses the final trump card of self-sacrifice. With large amount of mana she unleashes the attack which is unavoidable. But Tiny has a trump card. He tells the princess they have given her plenty of time to prepare for attack. Princess is ready to unleash divine light. Now here we learns that when a qualified person gets blessed by the priest, a new power is born. Power to fight with evil, but some people have this power from birth and known as cleric. These people are very rare. Princess uses this power of light against the black magician. With a powerful attack and a big explosion, they finally able to beat the black magician. Tiny delivers the final blow. Now Princess is wondering to heal the lady for questioning. If you want to kill her quickly, then use you magic, says Tiny. If you use light magic of healing on black magician, she will die sooner. All the guards are surprised to see cleric, but our hero is not. This raises the question, did he knows about the princess ability? Upon asking, Tiny tells Princess he can't answer that question, but someday he will. She agrees with him without any second thoughts and tease our hero by calling him cute and tiny. Next day we see that at Jivan front gate, Princess is very embraced because total 104 special knights are arrived on the order of king for the safety of Princess. Knight of Speed reports that her father was worried for her safety, and if it's not the emergency in the palace, he could have come himself. According to him, before a month ago the family treasure Tempest has disappeared and no one knows about it. Tempest makes an alarming sound in Tiny's head. He asks whether it was an artifact, but Princess was not sure but believes to be an artifact. To everyone's surprise, our hero says he knows why the family treasure is disappeared and demands to let him meet the emperor. Now all of them are going for the palace. Knight wonders how the little kid will know about the royal family's treasure. One of Knight mentions about Tiny. He is as good as an expert. Hearing this was surprise to the Knight of the Speed, and he remembers he was the one who wrote the letter from files. Princess is admiring the lilac flower, which she likes very much. King and Queen also like this flower very much and even named the fetus Lilac. Tiny remembers the important part from the king that he doesn't like lilac flower that much. Tiny is sure that the emperor have a better way to train him and he want to utilize this chance to its fullest. He is no match to the demon general if he uses previous training methods. Tiny is sure that the emperor will train him for upcoming calamity. Soon they arrives at the location of the castle. The day has arrived to meet with the emperor. Old man rushes, losing all his senses, to hug her daughter. Princess dodges this and scolds him to behave himself as all the knights are present. Now he shows the gratitude towards the knights, and also prepared a party, so he advises them to enjoy to the heart's content. Emperor asks who is the little kid. Princess reminds she already informed about the Tiny in the letter. His mind is occupied with family's treasure missing events, so he forgot about him. Now Tiny makes a mistake to address the emperor lightly without any manners. He says that he want to tell him about the disappearance of Tempest. Emperor uses his soul pressure skill to show the Tiny that he is the emperor. But Tiny can easily repel this with the soul strength which he gained from his previous life. Now he again asks the emperor, is it okay to talk here? Now King decide to talk with him in alone. Tiny starts the explanation with the Tempest ability, which is to give a person another chance or to review the time to a person. He further states that this all started after the appearance of the disaster, which will occur after 2 years from now. Everything changed after that event. He explains all the details happened after the events. Now the king is confused about this. This is not a simple story to come up with from the kid. But he is not convinced yet to trust Tiny. He says that why he was returned to the past instead of him, to which Tiny responds only he was aware of this ability, not everyone. The king remembers the saying for Tempest that one can returns to the past when their soul is greatly traumatized. Now Tiny knows why he was back at her sister's death. He was traumatized and started to realize the meaning to the life. Tiny calms himself to not get angry on the king because this is not his fault. He got a chance to say proper goodbye to her sister. Finally Tiny speaks about the daughter of the king and how they named her, but most importantly emperor doesn't like that flower that much and he doesn't shares this with anyone. Now the king laughs loudly, saying that only he can be the one to say such thing and believes Tiny. The old man is still not fully convinced. He wants to test Tiny's potential, which future emperor has acknowledged, and calls Royal Knight to check out his abilities and the real reason why future of himself chosen Tiny. Not subscribed yet? Please subscribe and like now before these eyes hypnotize you.